Night settled over Café Belle, where Itsuki knelt in butler elegance, awaiting the next guest. The door chimed. Reina Sato stepped in, laughing with her 3 friends, oblivious to the horror about to unfold.
Number, that's Reina. She's the last person who should see me here.
Reina's laughter died. She stared down at the kneeling butler, the same boy she mocked daily at school.
Welcome to Café Belle. Please, allow me to show you to your table.
He guided them to a frilly table. The tension an invisible wall between him and Reina, who had not yet spoken. Seated, her fork stopped midair. The cake untouched. She couldn't take her eyes off him.
She recognized me. If she says anything, my job, my grandmother, everything falls apart.
Candles flickered on the strawberry cake, but the birthday girl saw only the butler, her expression unreadable. Itsuki poured tea with steady hands, his face a mask of professional calm, while his mind raced with silent, desperate prayers. But the frozen horror in Reina's eyes was only the latest chapter of a long, bitter story.
Honestly, does your grandmother bathe you in disinfectant? You reek of old age and medicine.
Every day, the same words. But he couldn't fight back, not when his home held darker battles.
In a cramped bedroom, his grandmother lay beneath an oxygen mask, her body ravaged by diabetes. Each insulin pen cost more than a week's groceries, and the bills piled higher every month.
I can't lose her. There's no other way. I'll do whatever it takes.
So he took a job at Café Belle, slipping into the black uniform of a butler with a desperate gratitude.
No one can ever find out about this, especially not her.
Because if word got out, the job would vanish, and with it, his grandmother's lifeline. And now, the very girl who tormented him sat just feet away, an unknowing judge over his survival. But the collision that night had been set in motion 24 hours earlier, in the glow of a smartphone screen. Let's surprise Reina at Café Belle for her birthday. Her friends typed, oblivious to the storm they were brewing. Meanwhile, Itsuki counted yen in a jar, every coin a day of insulin, every bill a month of borrowed time. A harsh cough rattled from the next room. His grandmother's condition was worsening, and the pharmacy would close soon.
Just a few more shifts. I can't let this job slip away.
At Café Belle, Itsuki changed into his butler uniform, steeling himself for another evening of polished servitude. The reservation ledger sat open. He saw the entry for a VIP party, Sato Party, 7 p.m. The name meant nothing to him. He arranged the table setting, practicing the formal greeting he'd deliver to every guest, including the ones he couldn't yet imagine. When the door chimed on that birthday evening, Itsuki knelt as always, ready to serve. He never saw the trap until he looked up.
If only I'd checked the name. But it's too late now.
Itsuki moved from table to table, his polished service flawless, but a single bead of sweat betrayed the terror beneath.
She hasn't looked away once. Is she waiting for the right moment to destroy me?
Reina's friends gushed about the dreamy butler, unaware of the bomb they detonated. Reina's cake fork remained a frozen question mark, refusing to lower.
Keep moving. Take the order. Don't let her see you falter.
Candles flickered on the cake, but Reina's eyes held only the butler's silhouette. When the singing ended, Reina's slice of cake sat untouched, the fork resting like a verdict.
If she doesn't eat, her friends will ask questions. This silence is louder than any taunt.
Itsuki cleared plates and refilled glasses, each trip past Reina, a silent battle to ignore the weight of her stare. The dinner stretched on exquisite torture, as the unanswered question hung. Would she speak or keep his secret? Finally, Reina pushed back her chair and excused herself, her face pale. She needed air in the quiet hallway. Away from the chatter, she pressed a hand to her chest. Her heart was pounding.
Why is he here? In this place of all places? And why? Can't I mock him now?
Her friends called her back. The bill was paid. The night was over. Itsuki held the door with a bow, his expression immaculate, refusing to meet her eyes one last time. Reina's friends chattered about the handsome butler, But she walked ahead, silent, her mind a storm of questions. As the door closed behind her, Itsuki finally allowed himself to exhale.
She didn't say a word, but why? And what happens tomorrow?
He gathered the untouched cake plate, the fork still balanced where Reina had left it. The party was over, but the war had just begun. In the cab, Reina stared out the window, her reflection a mask of confusion. Her friend's laughter felt distant.
That uniform, that composure. It wasn't a joke. Who is he really?
Meanwhile, Itsuki wiped down tables, the cafe now silent and empty, the weight of the evening pressing on his shoulders.
She didn't expose me, but I can't relax. Tomorrow at school, everything could change.
He locked up, stepping into the cold night air. The crisp bills in his pocket were worth a week of insulin.
I'll go to school tomorrow and face her. Whatever comes, I'll protect this job.
He changed out of the butler uniform and back into his threadbare clothes, the mask of elegance stored until next shift.
Tomorrow, she'll be the queen again. But I saw something in her eyes tonight. What was it?
The next morning, Itsuki trudged toward school, his heart a drumbeat of dread. Every step felt like a march to judgment. He couldn't predict what Reina would do, but the secret was no longer his alone, and the silence between them was about to break. Itsuki stepped into the classroom, bracing for the usual sneers. Instead, he found a strange quiet. Reina was at her desk, surrounded by friends, but her voice never rose. She didn't even glance his way when he entered.
She's ignoring me, but that's almost worse. What is she planning?
At lunch, he caught her staring from across the courtyard. The moment their eyes met, she turned away, cheeks flushed. Whispers began among the students. Did you see? Reina Sato didn't even insult Watanabe today.
I can't look at him. Every time I do, I see that butler, and it feels like I am seeing him for the first time.
This silence is deafening. I'd almost prefer the insults. At least I knew what to expect.
By the end of the day, rumors had twisted into speculation that Reina had something on Itsuki, making the whispers even sharper. Itsuki hurried home, his mind a mess. Reina's behavior was a puzzle he couldn't solve, and the wrong move could shatter everything. But one thought cut through the noise. She hadn't betrayed him. Yet, the next evening, Itsuki was polishing glasses when a familiar silhouette appeared in the window's reflection. His hands froze. Reina was about to walk in, alone. The door chimed. Reina stepped inside, her casual dress a stark contrast to the birthday celebration's glamour. Without meeting his eyes, she murmured an order for tea and chose the most secluded table. Itsuki served her in silence, the clink of porcelain the only sound between them. She never looked up. When the bill came, she placed a stack of bills on the tray, far more than the price. Itsuki's breath hitched as he cleared the saucer. A folded piece of paper slipped into view, concealed beneath the porcelain. Reina rose abruptly, almost fleeing. Before he could speak, she was gone, leaving the note behind.
What is she trying to say? An apology? A threat? This piece of paper could destroy me.
His trembling hands held it unopened. The reflection in the glass, a portrait of anxiety. His fingers, still gloved, carefully unfolded the paper. The handwriting was neat, but the strokes trembled. I am sorry. For everything I said at school, I was wrong. Please let me explain.
An apology. After all those months. Is this a trick to get me to drop my guard?
The medicine bottles on the shelf seemed to stare back at him, a reminder of what was at stake if he trusted wrongly.
She says she wants to explain, but I need more than words. I need a reason to believe her.
A customer's call jolted him. He folded the note and slid it into his pocket, resuming his butler's composure. But his mind kept drifting back to the weight in his pocket, making each pour of tea a fraction less steady.
If she's sincere, then maybe. No, I can't afford to hope. One mistake, and I lose everything.
He served the remaining tables. The note, a silent accusation against his every polite smile. By closing time, he still hadn't decided. The folded paper felt like a grenade with the pin still in place. At home, Itsuki found his grandmother's breathing shallow and labored. The oxygen mask couldn't hide her struggle.
2 more insulin pens this month. The cost is climbing faster than my wages.
He sank into the kitchen chair, the note from Reina beside a stack of unpaid medical bills.
Sorry doesn't buy insulin. Why risk everything for words?
He unfolded the paper again, searching for a hidden motive between the trembling strokes.
Not answering is its own risk. If she's plotting something, I need to face it head on.
He decided. A neutral meeting. One chance to explain, nothing more.
If she's genuine, she'll accept. If not, I'll walk away and never look back.
He tucked the note into his pocket. Its weight now, a plan rather than a threat, returning to his grandmother. He held her hand, a fragile resolve hardening in his chest. That evening, Itsuki walked into Café Belle, the note in his pocket a constant reminder of the meeting he planned to request. After closing, he went to the manager's office to file receipts. A document on the desk caught his eye. The letterhead was stark. Sato Holdings, below it, the CEO name, Masayuki Sato.
Sato, that can't be a coincidence. Is Reina's family involved in this cafe?
His hands shook as he pulled out his phone and searched for Sato Holdings. The first result was a corporate profile. The profile showed the board of directors. At the top, a familiar face, a photo of Reina smiling beside a stern-looking man.
That's her father. He owns the parent company of Café Belle. Reina could have known I was working here for months.
Everything rewired in his mind. Her insults, the old people smell, taunts, the way she froze at the party. It had all been an act.
If she knew, then my humiliation was never random. She was testing me, watching me break. But why?
The note burned in his pocket. An apology from a girl who might have been his secret puppet master. The truth was more twisted than he'd ever imagined. The next evening, Reina slipped through the cafe door alone, her usual poise absent. Itsuki had been waiting. He didn't kneel. Instead, he guided her to a corner booth and sat across from her, a printed document stiff between them.
Sato Holdings, your father is the CEO. You've known I worked here for months, haven't you?
Reina's mask shattered. She stared at the document, and for a moment, she seemed to shrink into the shadows.
You are right. I saw the staff manifest 6 months ago. I knew you were working here.
So every insult was deliberate. Why? Just to watch me suffer.
I didn't plan the birthday. That was a coincidence. But the rest, I can't explain now.
She was admitting everything but the reason. The evasion stung more than the insults ever had.
If you won't tell me why, then this conversation is over. I've been your victim long enough.
Reina's hand shot out, but she pulled it back before touching him. Please, just give me a chance to explain everything. Not tonight, but soon.
It was a test. I was watching you, waiting to see if you would break.
A test? For what? What did you expect me to do?
I can't tell you that yet. Please, just trust that it wasn't out of pure malice.
Her voice broke entirely, and for the first time, Itsuki saw not the queen, but someone utterly lost.
Is this another act? Or has she always been hiding this?
The mask had slipped, revealing a girl who didn't know how to be kind.
Fine. One chance. But if you are playing games, I'll walk away forever.
He stood, leaving her alone in the booth, his own anger now mixed with confusion. She just stared at the empty cup, a single tear dropping onto the saucer. Outside, Itsuki paused under the street lamp. The seed of doubt had been planted, and it was growing. The next morning, the school buzzed with an electric tension. Eyes followed, Itsuki and Reina like hunters, tracking prey.
They can smell the secret. Every whisper feels like another step toward disaster.
In the hallway, a student sneered about the disinfectant stench. The old taunt back with cruel precision.
Shut up. You don't know anything about him.
The corridor fell silent. Reina Sato, the queen, had just defended the outcast.
Why did you do that? Now they'll think we're connected.
Whispers turned to suspicion. What was the princess hiding? Why did she care about Watanabe?
This is spiraling. I can't control the rumors, and she's only making it worse.
At lunch, Itsuki hid in the bathroom, splashing water on his face. His secret was a ticking bomb. He had to confront her soon, or the whole school would uncover the truth for him. That evening, Itsuki stared at his butler uniform, laid out on his bed like a white flag of surrender.
I could walk away. No more whispers, no more fear. But then what?
He shoved the uniform into a bag, his guilt a louder voice than the gossip. But through the thin walls, a cough rattled, a reminder that surrender wasn't a luxury he could afford.
Grandma, I don't know if I can do this anymore.
Her frail hand squeezed his with surprising strength, and her whisper cut through the despair. She told him he was stronger than any bully, and that her fight was worth his. Itsuki broke, tears spilling as he pressed his forehead to their joined hands.
She's right. I can't quit. I'll face Reina and demand the whole truth.
He unzipped the bag and hung the uniform back in his closet. Retreat was no longer an option. Itsuki locked the cafe and stepped into the alley. A lone figure waited in the shadows.
Reina, why are you here?
She stood before him, trembling, every trace of her queenly persona stripped away.
I am sorry for everything. I can't keep hiding behind cruelty.
Words aren't enough anymore. Tell me the truth, the whole truth, or I walk away and never look back.
His ultimatum hung in the cold air, the final thread of their fragile connection about to snap. Reina's face crumpled. She knew this was her last chance to salvage anything between them.
If I don't say it now, I'll lose him forever. But can I really explain this twisted thing I've done?
She reached out, her hand stopping just short of his sleeve, fear choking the confession in her throat. The alley fell into a suffocating silence, the weight of an unspoken truth pressing against both of them. The silence shattered as Reina's hand shot out, grabbing Itsuki's wrist with desperate strength. Words had failed her, so she would show him instead. She pulled him toward a waiting black car. The city lights blurred past as the car sped through the night, Itsuki's mind racing faster than the engine.
Where is she taking me? This can't be just about a cafe job.
The car stopped before a towering glass building. The sign read, Sato Holdings. Cold, powerful, undeniable.
This is her father's empire. She's bringing me into the heart of it.
Reina led him through the empty lobby, her heels echoing on the marble floor like a countdown.
Whatever she's about to show me, it's bigger than I ever imagined.
She paused before an oak door, her hand trembling on the handle. This is where it all began, she whispered. Itsuki followed her inside, stepping into the shadow of a secret that had cast his entire year in darkness. Reina turned to face Itsuki, the massive Sato Holdings logo looming behind her like an unspoken verdict.
My father owns Sato Holdings, and through it, Cafe Belle. I've known you worked there for 6 months.
She opened a drawer and retrieved a tablet displaying a staff manifest. There, circled in red, was his name.
6 months. All that humiliation. And she knew the whole time.
I started watching you. The insults, they were a test. I needed to see if you would break under pressure.
A test? You tormented me every day. For what possible reason?
Because I didn't know how else to understand you. And because I started feeling something I couldn't control.
Feelings? Is she saying she liked me? This whole time?
Every taunt, every sneer. It was her twisted way of watching him, waiting for the one person who saw through her mask. Itsuki stood frozen, the truth finally exposed, but the weight of it hadn't yet decided its path. Itsuki's fist clenched at his side, knuckles white. Every humiliation of the past 6 months screaming for release. Then, slowly, his fingers uncurled. The anger didn't vanish, but it found a quieter shape. He thought of his grandmother's fragile hand, the medicine bills, the sleepless nights, and then the girl who cried in a cafe booth. He saw Reina, not as a queen, but as someone who only knew how to provoke.
Reina, I am not going to pretend I understand everything, but I can see you were lost. That doesn't make any of it right. I needed kindness, not a test. So here is what I need. No more games. Just honesty. Can you do that?
Reina could only nod, tears spilling anew, but this time there was hope in them, and for the first time since the cafe door chimed, Itsuki's lips twitched into a weary, genuine smile.
Then let's start over. No butler, no queen, just two people who made mistakes.
Reina took a shaky breath and finally spoke, her voice steadier than before.
I promise, no more tests. I'll stop the games. Can we start over?
Itsuki considered the question, and the weight of 6 months of loneliness pressed against his back.
I won't forget what happened, but I am willing to try, with one condition. My job at the cafe, it's not a game. My grandmother depends on it. You stay out of it.
I swear, I'll never interfere. I won't tell anyone.
A cautious silence settled. Then Itsuki extended his hand, a peace offering across the battlefield of their past. Reina clasped it without hesitation. The handshake was formal, almost businesslike, but the trembling grip betrayed everything.
A truce, then. I don't know what comes next, but at least it's honest.
The shadow of the Sato Holdings logo seemed less oppressive now, as if even the building recognized that a new story had begun. Later that night, Cafe Belle was dark and silent, save for one small table lit by a single lamp.
Here, the same tea from your birthday, only this time, we're not playing roles.
It tastes different, sweeter, maybe? Or maybe I am just not hiding anymore.
My grandmother, she'd like this. She always said tea tastes best when shared.
My father, he'd probably be baffled by this. His empire hosting a quiet truce.
For the first time, the silence between them felt comfortable, rather than heavy.
This is strange, but maybe strange is what we need.
I don't deserve this peace, but I'll hold on to it as long as I can.
And so they remained, two teenagers across a tiny table, letting the quiet build something new. It wasn't forgiveness yet, but it was a beginning. The cafe door clicked shut behind them, its final lock echoing in the empty street. Reina waited under the street lamp. She fell into step beside him, and they walked without direction, the city's distant hum their only company.
6 months of fear, all leading to this quiet walk. Maybe this isn't the worst outcome.
Neither spoke. The silence between them had finally shed its thorns, leaving only a fragile comfort.
After everything, he's still here. I don't know what tomorrow holds, but tonight, I am grateful.
They turned a corner, and the cafe sign faded behind them, replaced by the ordinary glow of street lamps.
No butler, no queen, just us. Maybe we can build something from this.
Their silhouettes grew smaller, swallowed by the city night, no longer burdened by the secret they had both carried. Cafe Belle stood quietly behind, its windows dark, holding the memory of a shattered birthday that had stitched something new. And as the night deepened, the city kept its secrets, and two unlikely allies walked on, towards something still unwritten.